I kind of been looking forward to this review. When it comes to mentioning westerns and talking about western heroes, there is no bigger western hero than John Wayne, the Duke himself in True Grit, and of course the movie we're about to talk about and you're about to see a clip from. True Grit was filmed in 1969, starring John Wayne, of course, Glenn Campbell, and Kim Darby as Maddie. Portrays John Wayne as a U.S. Marshal out to hunt down the killer of Maddie's father. Again, refilmed in 2010, starring Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, and Haley Steinfeld as Maddie. Beautifully redone, I might add. I mean, if you have not seen Jeff Bridges as Marshal Rooster Cogburn, you need to see it. He did a fantastic, amazing job. But one thing I want to remind you of, and I thought was pretty hilarious, was Barry Pepper, who played Ned Pepper. Kind of ironic, isn't it? Kind of like he's playing an ancestor or something. It kind of hits you like that. I imagine he thought the same way. But these movies are fantastic. If you have not seen John Wayne in it, see him, put it in your collection, and get that 210 version with Jeff Bridges. You'll be glad you did. But right now, let's take a look.
I think True Grit remains an important film for Americans because of its story. I think that when Americans went to the movie theaters on the 4th of July, 1969, they were expecting a classic John Wayne Western. And when audiences left the theaters across America after watching True Grit, I think they were really reassured that America was going to be okay, that there are some timeless themes of this frontier fable taken from the pages of Charles Portis's novel and adapted by Marguerite Roberts into a morality play that audiences left and right could identify with and realize that America was going to be okay.
Charles Portis wrote in a style that was much different than anybody else wrote in terms of the novel, in terms of how Maddie perceived the world.
I had read the book, and it's a beautiful book for the genre of the language, and Portis got that down perfectly. I thought that played well in the movie, incidentally. I thought it played beautifully in the movie. And Kim Darby turned out to be the one authentic character that was really driven to keep the movie going along, you know. And I think it had a lot to do with her characterization.
I read the book, and, well, I liked her a lot, you know. I mean, she was her own person and was authentic and was passionate, strong. I think that the thing that makes people really strong is that they try. That's what makes people strong.
I figured while we were making the movie that several times Duke was somewhat puzzled by Kim Darby. It was sort of like, what's she trying to do? You know, that type of attitude. Well, Kim was doing the way the book was written. You know, she was doing that language. And Duke wasn't used to that, you know. He was used to the old gun-toting language and stuff.
Well, the text is an exquisite text. And, you know, it came so easily because of his writing. It wasn't something you had to reach way out there and bring it back to you.
I'm sure that's the way Hal Wallace, John Wayne, and others felt when they read it. And Marguerite Roberts, to her credit, was very faithful to the novel.
Marguerite Roberts, the screenwriter for True Grit, she had been labeled a communist. She was blacklisted as a communist and could not work for many, many years.
At that time that she was blacklisted, she was among the highest paid screenwriters in Hollywood, and there weren't a lot of women who were major screenwriters at that time, I don't believe.
In 1968, when she put together the screenplay for True Grit, which was a magnificent piece, she was convinced when she heard that it was going to be submitted to John Wayne, Marguerite Roberts was convinced that there was no way John Wayne was going to read the script, just based on his politics, his right-wing politics. She thought for sure he was going to reject her. But John Wayne, surprisingly, to her surprise, said, well, let me take a look at the script. Let's give her a chance. Sure enough, he read the script, and he came out with a comment. He said, this is the best Western written in years. Let's do it. And Margaret was thrilled.
I think that every family needs to revisit True Grit and make it a family tradition. I think that we also need to reflect on Charles Portis as an author and a novelist who has given us a great American fable. The idea that Hal Wallace, who was a great producer, and Henry Hathaway and John Wayne knew that this was a great, timeless American story, just like a great Shakespearean play, knew they had a story to tell that would reflect our American values for decades to come.
Okay, now let's watch a segment from the 2010 version of True Grit starring Jeff Bridges.
Pencil neck, son of a bitch.
Mr. Dogburn,
What is it?
I'd like to talk to you a minute.
What is it?
They tell me you're a man with true grit.
What's your name, girl?
My name is Maddie Ross. We're located in Yale County. My mother's at home looking after my sister Victoria and my brother little Frank.
You best go home to them.
It's such a coveted role. It's the role of a lifetime. I mean, who wouldn't be attracted to it? She's a 14-year-old, tough, witty girl, and she has this goal, and she tells herself that she's not going to go on with life until she reaches her goal, and she goes for it. I came in at the very tail end of it all, and I was very fortunate to have gotten a final call. I was reading for the Coen brothers. I went in to the audition as Maddie Ross, what I felt was Maddie Ross. My mom threw a outfit together for me last minute from Salvation Army and made me a burlap skirt the night before from Joann's, and I felt really prepared, and I was ready, and it was a good feeling.
How much are you paying for cotton?
9.5 for low middling and 10 for ordinary.
We got most of ours out early and sold it to the Woodson Brothers in Little Rock for 11 cents.
Well, then I suggest you take the balance of it to the Woodson Brothers.
So it was like every day of that week just sitting by the phone. And the phone rang, and my mom picks it up, and all I hear is, okay, all right. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't get it. And I'm just thinking to myself, I can't believe this. And all of a sudden, my mom calls me down. She's like, Maddie Ross, there's somebody on the phone for you. So I'm just like, this feeling comes over me that this is real. This is actually happening. So I run downstairs. My dad's taking pictures of me. Everybody's on the phone, is screaming, and it was surreal. We shot in mainly Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Austin, Texas, and then a bunch of different places in Texas as well. I mean, I didn't get service on my phone at some times, but other than that, I loved it. The locations were absolutely beautiful, and I find that traveling is something that I really enjoy doing, and I'm so grateful that my job can take me places because it's something I really enjoy doing now.
Action.
Stand up, Tom Chaney!
Before I went on location, my dad took me to a shooting range because I wanted to make sure that that was something I was familiar with, and it really helped because obviously it wasn't what I expected, but I didn't know what to expect. So I mean, it really kicked me back, but that was good because on set filming that scene, there is no kick with the blank, but she falls back because of the kick of the gun. So it was really helpful. Well, I already know how to horseback ride. I used to ride English a couple years ago, so just it was about 2 weeks before filming, just horseback riding lessons and trail riding and just stuff to get back in the zone of Western riding.
Is that Marshal Cogburn?
So, you're the runaway. Marshall told me you'd show up. I'm to present you to the sheriff.
That is a story. Let go of my horse. I have business across the river.
The water was not cold. It was actually in the middle. It was a little cold, but not that bad. I had a wetsuit on under all my clothes, so it wasn't that bad. I have to say Joel did most of the talking, and what I love is like they're always making sure they're both okay with it. It's, what do you think, Eth? I'm good. How about you, Joel? Like totally making sure everybody was happy with it. It's amazing to see the way they work. It's like they don't even have to say anything to each other, but they're still on the same page. They were really flexible with any ideas that any of the actors had, and they were always, you know, wanted to make sure that I was happy with the take that we did, and they were always open if I wanted to do another take or if I wanted to try something else. They were 100% open to do that. I mean, at the end of every day, it's like before I go to sleep, it's like I say to myself, do you realize what you just did today? And it's so amazing. It's like I said, it's a lot to comprehend, and I'm just so blessed, and I thank the Lord every day for putting me where I am, and I'm so thankful, and I'm so happy, and I'm exactly where I want to be.
How about that? Good writing, good storylines, and everything. Solid. And I'm glad they used that woman. That little witch hunt by Senator McCarthy for communists was just a little over the top, if you understand what I'm talking about and know anything about political history. Until next time, I'm James. I hope you loved True Grit and will love it. Pick up a copy. Pick up both copies and have yourself a Western night.